Hey y'all, it's your favorite Gypsy Naya here, and it's early in the morning. I just finished laboring. I just finished working all night, labor and delivery. It was a baby boy that was born, so I'm very excited for my client. Beautiful baby boy was born, and my client worked so hard through labor and delivery. There was a lot of energy and work goes into labor and delivery for the woman. Okay. I'm not saying that the men don't have to do anything, but for the woman, it's a lot. And this message is a reminder to not have babies for free. If you are in a living situation with a man where you guys are calling it 50-50, where basically you pay bills and you work and you have to cook and clean, and you might not be a wife, you might be a girlfriend, whatever. If you are in one of those 50-50 relationships with a man, I need you to remember that as soon as you throw a pregnancy in the mix, that's when it goes from 80-20, okay? You're doing 80% of the work, all right? It's not going to be any such thing as 50-50. It's just not. Even if you stop working, even if you're not working the whole time that you are pregnant, and he's paying all the bills and everything, that will bring the equation closer to like a 60-40, with you doing 60% of the work and you putting out 60% of the effort that's needed for you guys to expand. Because when you have a baby, you're expanding. You're no longer just maintaining anymore. When you're doing this 50-50 type relationship, you are maintaining, okay? Even if you're rich, you could be filthy rich. Understand that you are maintaining, okay? Once you throw a pregnancy in the mix, it is now expanding, okay? You're no longer just maintaining. So whose job is it to provide the energy necessary for the expansion? It's yours. So there's no longer a 50-50 type of equation happening here as soon as you get pregnant. This is why you should not be having babies for free. I don't see, just doing the math, it's not healthy, and it's not safe. It really, really hurts my heart when I finish working, do labor and delivery, and I see all the work that my clients have to do throughout labor and delivery, and then postpartum recovery. Meanwhile, in their head, they're worried about maternity leave money. They're worried about paying any co-payments to insurance, and I can't wait to get back to work and get my check so I can pay the co-payments to my insurance. And the man that they're partnered with, he really can't afford their lives. Like, he can't afford that expansion of the baby. He can't afford to cover her and her expenses, and they're having a child, they're expanding. And he can't afford to live a life with her and pay her portion of it. And when you get pregnant, it puts you in a position of vulnerability to where, yes, your partner is going to have to cover your portion of the bills and whatever you're maintaining currently, your partner is going to have to be able to afford to cover it. And so whenever you choose to have babies for free, what you're doing essentially is you're saying, hey, I'm willing to put out all of my physical energy to work, pay bills, take care of the baby, and actually build this baby, put this baby together in my womb. Like, it's a lot of work on your organs, especially your cardiovascular system. It's a lot of work for your body. What you're saying is, I know my partner can't really afford all of us. My partner can't really afford to just take care of me, So we're going to add a baby to the mix, and I'm going to foot the whole bill for it and recover physically and avoid the stress on the body. I'm sorry, but it's not a good equation. It's not a healthy equation. That's what I want to say. It's not a healthy equation. It's not. It's detrimental. It's stressful. And so I just want to remind all of my celebrities, like, listen, do not feel bad, and don't feel ashamed. Don't feel needy. Don't feel convicted about standing up for your self-worth and your self-preservation. Don't feel bad about having enough self-love to say, hey, I currently I want to have kids and I want to expand too, but currently I'm not in a position to foot the whole bill for our expansion, energetically and financially. So I can't have this baby for free. We're gonna have to set aside about $100,000 for me to go ahead and push through on our expansion. For me to open up this birth portal, it's gonna cost $100,000. Now, we don't have to expand. We can stay as we are. But here's the thing: if you decide to use a sperm bank, so that you as the mother, now this is only for the American celebrities, okay? All of my American mamas. If you and your partner break up, mom, you're getting left with the baby here in America. The baby is yours. It is in your best interest for you to have full authority when it comes to the baby's life. It is in your best interest to not have to go through the hassle of suing for child support and have to go through custody agreements. You need to remember, most of these men, yes, and I mean most of them, they want multiple wives. The way that they are going about having multiple wives, if a lot of us women, like, if we don't agree with them having multiple wives, whether they can afford it or not, the way they're going about it is by having babies by multiple women on purpose, intentionally. And then after the baby's born, baby's maybe a toddler or so, and now he's acting funny, it's time to break up. He's ready to go find a new wife. And he's, so he can get her pregnant too. It's in your best interest, to be the only person on the birth certificate so that he can't keep you in bondage, so that he can't use custody to keep you in bondage. If he wants to be a great father to the child, that's exactly what he's going to do. And, you're not going to stop him. You're not going to prevent it. You're not going to be bitter or anything like that. Because nobody wants to be a single mother. Like, nobody wants to do this alone. Like, most of us mothers, at least I'm speaking for the American mothers now, we don't enjoy fatherhood. We enjoy motherhood. So we don't want to, push the fathers away and do this alone. That's not our intention. Our intention is protecting our health and peace and sanity and maintaining our self-love and self-respect while we are making babies, having babies, and raising our children. So it is in your best interest to be the only person with legal authority. And if you choose to have a baby at all, if you choose to allow him to get you pregnant, it is in your best interest to already have the money set aside. You can take $100,000. You can take, and I'm just giving that number for example. You might require a lot more than $100,000, celebrity. You might require a lot more than, $80,000, $50,000. Those are really, really low numbers for reproduction. Surrogate mothers get paid more than that, and they don't have to raise the child. Okay. So I'm just naming numbers, it doesn't have to be $100,000, but you can take whatever money, whatever it costs, whatever you decide that it costs for you to have a baby for somebody, for you to birth a man's legacy, for you to duplicate him. You're duplicating him, like you're cloning him, okay? The amount of money that it costs to clone yourself is, oh my gosh, I looked into, it's like, I hope one day that I live to be able to afford to clone myself, but to get a clone, for somebody to duplicate you, that's very expensive work, okay? So whatever you choose that it should, whatever you decide that it should cost is what it costs. You're worth it. Don't be timid about asking for that cost whenever he's planning a baby, or whenever he's deciding he wants another kid, or he wants, don't be timid, and don't be too passive with your womb. You know, having sex during ovulation time needs to cost a couple $100,000. It needs to cost a grand amount of money, because, you know, if we make a baby, I'm only one human. I love myself enough not to foot the whole bill for creating you a legacy. Especially in America. In America, we get left with the kids. And yes, these men are achieving their goals of having multiple wives without our consent, because we're choosing to have babies by them for free. And what I mean by a wife is somebody who's having your children. And even if you're not in that household with her anymore, you know, you still allow that man, you are his wife if his voice and his rules and his opinion and his mindset has authority in your household. Okay? Co-parenting does that. It's like, okay, I have to honor the father's wishes while I'm co-parenting. Well, okay, but you're the only one that's actually doing all the work. You're doing the majority of the work, which is the same dynamic that was in play when you were pregnant. You were doing most of the work, and you was basically footing most of the bill for you guys' expansion. After he expands with you by having that baby, he's gonna want more expansion by adding another wife to the family. And he's gonna get what he wants if you let him sign that birth certificate. He's gonna get what he wants, which you don't have to do. I want to encourage everyone to know, you do not have to allow him to sign that birth certificate. We are in the new world. It might not be in your best interest, because this is what I hate to see, especially after the night of work that I had last night. This is what I hate to see. I hate to see when one person is doing all of the work and footing most of the bill, but the other person got so much to say and got so many rules. And, it's like you're doing all this talking, but you're not paying the cost to be that level of a boss. If a man is going to have if a man is going to have authority in my household, then he's going to be in my household. He's going to be paying for the household. His funds are going to be managing my household. If his voice is managing my household. I'm sorry, women, we have to stop living lives in America, at least in America. We have to stop living lives where men who aren't even able to afford to manage our households have authority, vocal authority in our households, and we're trying to honor them in co-parenting. It's a very, very imbalanced equation. It's not healthy. We see it going on all the time with the celebrities. But we see it going on in the middle class as well. Not just with the rich and famous. It's going on too much in the middle class. And it's like, okay, he wants joint custody so that he can avoid child support, which normally is not. Child support is always going to be pennies when it comes to even the rich and famous. It's going to be pennies in comparison to his actual income. They want joint custody in order to avoid child support, but they don't want the joint physical responsibility. They want to go off and build new families, and I'm not judging them for wanting that. Listen, a man who wants multiple wives, he has my blessing. I have no problem with that. But ladies, for you, it's not in your best interest to actually say, hey, we're in love. We've been together for 10 years, 5 years, 6 years, 13 years, 15 years, 18 years. We've been together since we were high school sweethearts. We've been together for a long time. We love each other. We want to have a baby together. Let me go ahead and front the whole bill and put myself at risk of continuing on this pattern through the child's rearing days, through all of the child's adolescence. Let's go ahead and keep this pattern up of me, because I'm showing him that I can afford to foot 70% of the cost energetically and financially. Because I'm showing him this, because we're in love, he's gonna see that, and he's gonna know that he can leave me with this baby. We can break up. I will be all right without him. Let's go ahead and go into that cycle, because I love him so much, and I think we're gonna be together forever. I'm sorry, but statistics are showing that you might not be together forever, and in the event that you're not, you do want to cover your peace of mind, you want to cover your sanity, and you want to protect your freedom. By not allowing him to sign the birth certificate, you won't be suing him for child support, and he won't be trying to take you for custody and trying to throw his weight around in your life, causing you mental distress, causing you emotional turmoil, because he's trying to keep you boxed in. You're trapped. He's trying to keep you trapped so that he can have his multiple wives. You're not one of his wives if you have his baby and he has absolutely no authority in your life. But if you still love him, and you still care about him, and you still want to co-parent with him in peace and, harmony, and you still allow him to have a voice in what you do in your household, you are one of his wives, sis, whether you guys are together or not, whether he's still sleeping with you or not. You are one of the women who are, who's raising his legacy. You're one of the women that he can attribute to protecting his legacy to. Men want to plant their seeds on safe, stable soil, I want to say. Men want to plant their seeds in safe and stable ground. If you are a strong, independent woman, yes, he can have his multiple wives, and you be one of them. And he knows that it's going to be safe and healthy. You have to make sure you're going to be safe and healthy in the event that he decides that you guys aren't working out, you guys have to break up, and then you end up being a single mom. You don't want his name on that birth certificate. You don't have to try to secure child support if you didn't have that baby for free in the first place. Okay, so you got to pay the cost to be that kind of boss. If he can't pay the cost, then please do not go about conceiving a child. Okay, get your money up front, whatever the cost is. Like, we need to normalize having to provide land and having to provide stock and having to provide the financial portion of raising children before you conceive them. It is of the utmost importance, because I'm not in agreement with a lot of us mothers having to worry about maternity leave, and basically we're still being nickeled and dimed when we're putting out the most energy, the most powerful, beautiful, divine energy that we have to offer is childbirth and child rearing and raising a family and going to work. I'm sorry, but we don't enjoy fatherhood. We enjoy motherhood. But having to walk in the responsibilities of fatherhood can easily take away the joy of motherhood. Easy, real easy. And I'm not in agreement with it. I'm not in agreement with us signing up for this, knowing what we're signing up for. Like, we see how the men are, we see how they're acting, we see what they want, and we're gonna ignore it so that we can live in our illusion of we're in love and we should build a family. Yes, but you need to go ahead and put some precautions in place to protect your mental health and your financial stability while you're raising the child together. All right. Ask for your money first. Choose your price and stand firm on your price before you open up that very, very expensive portal of childbirth. Okay? All right. Love you.